I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me and I didn't have the heart to let him down. By Abraham Lincoln. Good morning, Savannah, and welcome to the Savannah Business Showcase. I'm Terez, your host. You're listening to WRUU FM 107.5, and today on the Savannah Business Showcase, I have with me the wonderful Erica Palmisano with Phoenix Consulting and Management. Erica, I'll let you introduce yourself now.
Hi, my name is Erica Palmisano, and I'm with Phoenix Consulting and Management. I am a resident here of Savannah, Georgia, but moved about 5 years ago from Athens, Georgia, about 6 years ago, after a long extended stay, after attending the University of Georgia. So yeah.
Okay. Why'd you move here?
Was in Athens for 11 years and decided that maybe there were other opportunities. I had met a bunch of friends from Savannah, Georgia, and had only visited once, actually, previous to moving here. So I thought there might be some great opportunities down here to look into. So
Cool. And so I'll get into you a little bit more later. So tell us a little bit more about Phoenix Management.
We are a business consulting and management firm, and we are interested in helping local businesses experience business growth. So we can come in and offer insight into how to grow their business, which is typically through marketing and management of their online business. Nowadays, everyone has their physical business, in the real world, but then we also have our virtual business online that has to be constantly managed. It's a 24/7 job, and helping business owners kind of get a good strategy around how to be successful and grow their business in that environment.
Awesome. So so you have two co-owners, right? Two co-founders?
Right. Well, we know there are three partners, so there's three of us, yeah.
Okay. How did you guys meet? How did you decide to start the business? Where did it all come from?
We actually worked together previously in the healthcare industry, and we, have been working together for 6 years. The healthcare industry is a frustrating industry, and we kind of, at the beginning of this year decided that maybe the three of us, alone, I probably would have never made the decision to take a risk and like this and start a business. Although now I don't see myself working in any other type of relationship besides owning my own business.
Right.
But we decided to, take a leap of faith and get out of the healthcare industry and kind of do what we were doing there with healthcare organizations, with everyone.
Okay. So you were doing the same thing there?
Yeah. Well, within the healthcare organization, we had the partners. I was the leader in the human resources department. And then my other two partners were in marketing and finance.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, so let's step back up. So you're from Athens, but you said you're from...
No, I'm from Griffin.
You're from Griffin. Okay. All right. And where's Griffin?
Griffin is about 45 minutes south of Atlanta. It's actually where Walking Dead is filmed.
Okay.
A lot of movies filmed in Griffin.
Okay.
We're pretty famous. I think we even have the Atlanta movie tours. My mom told me that there was a tour bus coming by our house. I was like, what are they going to see? But yeah, lots of cow pastures. It's definitely a suburb.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So do you go back to Atlanta often?
Yep. My sister, I have a younger sister. She lives in Decatur. She's a fabric designer and upholsterer there. And my parents still live in Griffin. So yes, I'm frequently in Atlanta and the Atlanta area.
Okay. So why start a business in Savannah, not in Atlanta?
I think one of the biggest reasons is the competition level in Atlanta is one that is extremely competitive. Savannah has kind of a unique niche where it's this booming tourism town where we're making as much money in tourism as someone like Nashville. But we are a small community where we can, maybe have a larger impact. So I think starting here is a smart decision for a lot of business owners. Maybe they didn't, maybe I didn't see that maybe 3 years ago because I hadn't actually realized that I would want to start my own business. But it's kind of like hindsight. You look back now and you're like, wow, this path I was on this path for a reason. And yeah, Savannah is I think an easy place to, not easy, but
right. Friendly place for businesses.
Friendly place to start a business,
okay.
right, for a startup, yeah.
Okay, so do you think you've always had that entrepreneurial bug?
I do, but I don't know if I recognized it as
Gotcha.
entrepreneur. I've always recognized this ability to work with people really well and understand people. I've always, which is probably why I ended up in human resources. But just that ability to kind of read and, a high emotional intelligence that has always led me to be able to work with people to help them succeed. So working with them in a consulting and management, I think that it works really well for me, because that's what I do well.
Got you. And that's the goal, to do more of what you do well.
Right.
And let your partners do what they do well.
Right.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about having partners, is guys can feed off of each other and grow off of each other, and hopefully accelerate the business faster.
Right. I would not have done this on my own. I need the sounding board to feed from, to bounce ideas off of. I need partners to, we each have something that we bring to the table that is a strength that the other two don't have. So I think it works really, really well in that sense, that we can, come together and become one that will be more successful than, the three of us on our own.
Okay. So you said that you have a really high emotional intelligence. So is that your strength, or do you consider your strength to be something else?
I think it's can be both a strength and a weakness.
Yeah.
My entire life, it's taken a long time to realize that that's what it is. I actually read the EQ. It's a great book about emotional intelligence and empathy and what that means as far as IQ and your intelligence level. But realizing that you have to be able to control it, because you can't let other people's feelings, affect you to your core.
That's
that it's
true,
going
too.
to affect your life. So it's been a learning experience. I cry at the most ridiculous commercials, but learning how to control it and understanding that it can be a strength, a really good strength in an individual, and then how to utilize that. How to analyze people and see in what situation they would be most successful based on where their emotions lie.
I agree, and I understand. I took Strength Finders. Have you ever taken that?
Yes.
Yeah, my number one was empathy.
Nice. Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah.
It's easy to let people's emotions affect you, and you have to. There's a balance.
Right.
There's
exactly.
definitely a balance. Okay. Cool. So, what are your weaknesses?
Probably my empathy level for things that, I can't throw a stuffed animal away. No. I can get, my attention span is probably not as long as it should be. I think it's good and bad as well. I can be both creative and analytical, so I'm kind of in the middle on most personality tests. If you're right or left-brained, I always got, you're in the center.
Yeah.
But I tend to, I can get distracted. So learning how to manage your time efficiently when you are starting your own business, because the days become, time is money, and the days will never go as fast as when you own your own business, because you got to pay bills and you have to make sure that you're, doing a good job for your clients. So the days just pass so fast. So understanding how to get into the office and then get focused, get prioritized, get the, important things done first, and then, balancing that with a good life and, fun
right.
and things besides work.
Yeah. And that's not just you. That's
it's everything.
That's 99% of us.
Yeah. And I battle because, in a startup situation, when you just are starting, you go between, all right, I need to be working 24 hours because we just started this company. And then, but you don't want to burn out at the same time. You don't want to 6 months into it be like, forget this. I'm done,
right.
because I've given it my all and I can't do anymore.
Right.
So
very true.
It's all about finding the balance.
Yep. Yep. So you're on the marketing side of the team. What tips do you have for, like, what has worked for you, and what tips do you have for other entrepreneurs out there in marketing in Savannah?
I think we are, we're typically not for the traditional marketing avenues. Social media, I think, is besides having your website search engine optimized and managing that, on a day-to-day basis and understanding that importance of that. I think social media is the best marketing money you'll spend, if you even spend any money. Understanding how the platforms work, where your customer is, how to speak to your customer. I think business owners are coming to terms with the fact that they're going to have a Facebook account for their business.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
But understanding then, like, what do people on Facebook want to see? Or what do people on Instagram want to see? And what is my brand going to say? I think people typically get stuck in the complexities of the, starting. So if they could just make a decision and just do it, and, one step at a time, just make one decision and go forward. Getting their social media started and making sure that they're posting daily.
Okay. That's what I struggle with.
Yeah.
Posting daily.
Yeah. Finding, and then so the struggle is, how do you post, how do you live a life, have a business, have your personal accounts, and then have a business account, and then every day come up with something clever, to post. So it's more about, okay, what strategy do we implement? We sit down and we look at a month, 30 days at a time, what's going on in the month, and we plan 30 posts for one platform. And that's what we do for our clients. We manage their, the social media for a lot of people that are just don't want to be a part of it. They don't want to deal with the stress, or they don't feel like they're creative enough, or they just don't have time for it.
Got you. That makes sense. I might need to hire you guys sooner or later. What else do you guys offer?
We can website, build websites, SEO, so search engine optimization. We can manage that for you. We can put together, we offer the consulting and management. We can come in. At our previous company, we implemented the entrepreneurial operating system, EOS.
Okay.
And what that does is it simplifies the business's operating systems, and kind of gives business owners tools to help them find success daily, monthly, quarterly, by implementing, the right kind of meetings, what they should be doing in terms of, the team that they have built. So we can offer those consultation services. Often we found that people who are interested in business growth, they maybe don't know their budgets, they don't know their hiring process, so we can take a look at the entire setup and offer advice and guidance through, helping them set their core values, their vision, tracking, what do they need to make in 3 years? What do they need to make this month in order to make what they would like for this year? We can help them walk through that entire process. So we've helped clients do that. And typically that also is a lot of, let us help prepare your marketing strategy to include a new website.
Gotcha.
Something that's mobile optimized. Most people are not going home and getting on the computer and looking up websites. They're on their phone, walking around during the day, hearing something on the radio like now, and then going to the person's website to see how, what they're all about. And if it's not something that is easily, if you can't navigate, if you can't look through it and it's, aesthetically pleasing to the eye, and it's, then people are typically not going to trust the business, or they're not going to go, they're going to leave the site, and then that business loses that potential client. So
that's true. That's very true. Or if they don't have enough personality. Yeah, I don't know if they don't have enough engagement with the client.
Right.
Through the site.
Right.
Okay. So what has worked well for you guys in your business and finding new clients?
So probably we just, we just started in the end of January. Networking has been really, really good. Word of mouth. Social media, we started immediately, website immediately, making sure that it was something that people would, want to visit, and then that we're providing information on social media that is relevant, that is, fun, entertaining. I think sitting down with my business partners also and making sure that our operating agreement and that the three of us understood where we were together, where the business was going, and ultimately looking at those hard decisions. What happens if the worst thing in the world happens? What if someone doesn't want to be in the business in a year? Just kind of all those difficult decisions, or just difficult conversations. We wanted to have those before we actually experienced something rocky in the business life.
That's a good idea.
That way the business or the operating agreement is laid out, and we know how things will go in a rocky situation.
yeah, really good idea. Before the show, we talked a little bit. You told me that you didn't major in entrepreneurship and marketing and advertising, and so what did you major in, and how did you go from there to entrepreneurship?
I graduated from the University of Georgia, the College of Ag, with a biological sciences degree and an emphasis in plant genetics. When I graduated, I thought possibly I would go to work in a lab and work on research to develop better strains of rice or corn that were more disease resistant or drought resistant. And I wanted to help people. I wanted to help the world. I wanted to feed the world is kind of where my mind was. But I wanted to be a lot of different things growing up. I'm interested in everything, and I think that the central theme between everything was people, just helping people. So took me a long time to figure out that was the central theme. It felt more like I was bouncing around, but yeah, I always, I went to Italy after I graduated from the University of Georgia, and I worked for 6 months with a research team there.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and when I got back, I thought, I don't know that is maybe where I'm best suited. So I started working for a property manager there and got into the business world, kind of, working with a business manager for that business and having my eyes, opened to the world and all of the different jobs that you could potentially have. I felt like kind of in college, it's, you got maybe like art, history, or it didn't feel like I knew exactly what was out there.
Right. And I feel like that's something that it plagued me as well, because there are so many jobs. Like I met a guy, we're building a home now. He, checked the soil for us. Yeah. He made like $300 just going out there and sticking a stick in the soil, in the dirt. And, like they don't tell you about that stuff in high school. It's either doctor, lawyer,
yeah, exactly.
Something like that. Yeah. Businessman, whatever that means.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, how did you like Italy?
I loved it. I would say that my senior year in college, like I said, graduating with a biological sciences degree in plant genetics, I had no idea what I was going to do. And I took a senior thesis with Dr. Ed Kanemasu at the University of Georgia. I believe he's retired now, but at the end of the course, he posed the question, what are you going to do? And I couldn't answer him. And he said, I have this great opportunity in Italy with the European Union and this FIPSI agreement between the United States and the EU to send a student to Italy, and then a student from Italy would come to the University of Georgia, or to the United States. It was the pilot. I was the guinea pig in this new program they were starting.
Okay.
He said, you should apply. You should do it. You should just go and do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. And I looked at him like he was crazy. I thought, I'll never get this. I'm never going to, It was fully funded. I was paid. I had scholarship, everything. I didn't, they paid for my flight over and my flight back, as well as intense Italian lessons. So,
yeah? Okay. Do you still remember any?
No. I probably didn't pay attention as well as I should have. but he made me, so I went home and I applied, and I heard back within a couple of weeks that I had actually been selected, and I went, and the first 2 weeks were probably the hardest because I was like, what am I doing? I'm the only American in this tiny northern Italian town.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't speak English as I thought they would, because I was, the Southern girl going to Italy thinking that Italy was just another American town where everybody spoke English, and,
Mm-hmm.
very, very sheltered child.
Yeah. We all are.
Yeah. But I think I credit him with me learning that I could, really do anything. Not that I could do anything like, I'm so great, but
Mm-hmm.
more that I could put myself in a situation that seemed really scary and uncomfortable, and that I could succeed, that if I put my mind to it and I focused, I would be okay. And because of that experience, I was able to, do a lot more. I felt more confidence. I felt
Mm-hmm.
that I had, if I could do that, I could pretty much go anywhere by myself, start anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I definitely understand the culture shock aspect of. I remember for our honeymoon, my wife and I went to Paris, and we got on the subway, and I remember seeing black people, and I was like, there are black people in Paris too? And I was like, it just blew my mind. I know. I know it's stupid saying it now.
Yeah, but, I
but,
mean, it was, and my sister, and that also, like, it taught me something. I always wanted to, work with younger people to help them see the value in putting themselves in really uncomfortable situations.
Yes.
Go do study abroad, take that experience and do it, because you only get one shot. And when when you're in college and the opportunities are there, take them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I'll ever have the opportunity to go live in Italy for 6 months paid while, so my sister ended up going to Japan and spending her study abroad in Japan, in Kyoto, for, I think she was there for 9 weeks. So that was a really interesting experience.
That is pretty cool.
Well. But I think, hopefully my experience led to other people doing the same thing. And then that led to them being able to pull themselves outside of the box and look at the world a little differently.
Okay. So before we go to break, I want to ask you, I want to know about a success you guys have had, and I also want to know about a failure that you've had.
Me personally, or
personally in the business, whichever one you feel is more beneficial to the listeners.
Let's see. So a success, I think, has just been coming together and starting this company.
Taking action.
Mm-hmm. Because it's so hard, and I think that's everybody struggles with, like, decisions they're making, and if you can just take the action and start, so that's been a real success, moving forward, and us really seeing, really helping clients and really helping our customers, wishing that we had started years ago.
Yeah.
And personally, I think realizing that if you are able to surround yourself with people who are experts in their fields, if they will fill in where you aren't an expert, and then realizing that that's important, that you need to look for really good people to be your confidant or your mentor. You need to look for people who have experienced failure in business as well as success, because if you haven't experienced failure in business, I feel that you're kind of walking in blindfolded. And I know people are super successful with their first businesses, often, but it makes me nervous because I'm a risk taker, but it's calculated risks, and I definitely weigh my pros and cons several times before making that decision and taking the risk. So I think having seen other businesses fail, and then putting people that can let you know that if the business does fail, you are going to be just fine, and you can start another business, and it doesn't mean necessarily that you're a failure.
Right.
Let's see, but like a real failure. I think preparation is the most important thing. Personally, I have experienced company meeting failures when I was not prepared because I didn't take it seriously, or because I didn't feel that it was necessary. And so it's scary to be in front of 70 people and have it just go to crap, and then it reminds you that this is your work ethic, and that it's important to put the time in no matter what situation you're in. It's important to prepare. It's important to review everything so that you're not wasting anyone's time regardless of the situation. So that taught me a big lesson in life, that making sure you're prepared.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I like what you said about failure, because failure is good, but so there's this, I feel like everybody's talking about how it's good to fail fast and learn fast, but failure hurts.
Right.
It still hurts.
It's personal.
Yeah, it still hurts, but you need to fail, because I think it's Les Brown. He has a quote. He says, if you fall down, fall on your back, because if you can look up, then you can get up. Right. So, you have to fail so you know that you can stand up again. Even if you get hurt, you can still get up. It just makes you stronger.
Exactly.
It still hurts.
It does hurt.
But it makes you stronger.
Right. And it's knowing, too, when you fail, or to walk away from the failure, not, to hide it, but to know when to say, okay, this is failing, and we have to now make a smart decision in the failure so that we can be successful in the next decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's a great point to take a break on. So everybody out there listening, thank you for joining us. We'll be back in just a minute, and we're going to put Erica through the lightning round. I got some new questions for her she doesn't know about. Okay. So, all right, we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. All right, Savannah, welcome back to the Savannah Business Showcase. Once again, I'm here with Erica Palmisano, Phoenix Consulting and Management here in Savannah, and we are going to put her through the lightning round.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. All right, so let's get started. Who influenced you early in life, and who is your mentor now?
Okay. Early in life, I would say my parents. They met in Dover, Delaware, where I was born. Both had their families there, and my dad, when I was born, my dad decided to take a position with the FAA as an air traffic controller, and they left Delaware, Dover, the smallest town ever, and they went to Salt Lake City, Utah, and then by themselves with me, and had my sister there, and then they moved to Georgia. So they're kind of struck out on their own. They were determined to build a life for me and my sister, and they did it all by themselves with no family, no resources nearby. So yeah, they really pushed us to be independent and to, never accept the status quo, to always that we could do anything, and they always supported us through that. So that I attribute them all of my success. Mentors now, I read a lot, but any person who gives me advice, anybody that I look up to, everyone in the business world that has been successful, I think has something to provide as mentorship. It's just, I think individually we all have to remember that we don't know everything, and looking to others for guidance and advice, and that mentorship is important. So reading books, knowing who's out there that's super successful at what they're doing, and then what they're reading. I think that that's where mentoring comes from for me right now.
That said, what's your favorite book?
My favorite book, I probably have a couple. I think business-wise, the Good to Great, the 5 elements of a dysfunctional team. Is that the name? I think that's the name. It's Lencioni's book. It's a great book for determining, looking at it. It's a fable about business. And it kind of gives you a look at the different things that can go wrong through the hiring process and everything within a business. Okay. But another really, really good book that affected me that I read a while ago was A Million Miles in 1,000 Years. And it was just one of those books that I read. Probably it took me a day to read, but it really influenced me. I constantly think about that book. And it was about this guy who was sitting on a couch kind of contemplating life and why he wasn't this and why he wasn't being successful, and just watching TV and wasting his life, and then making the decision to finally say, okay, enough's enough. I'm gonna do something really great. And just his experience through that was really inspiring.
Okay, what was the name of that again?
1,000,000 Miles in 1,000 Years.
Got it. Okay. What have you had to sacrifice in order to start your business?
Time and money. Personal, like your free time, there is really none. But again, I wouldn't have it any other way.
What was the last movie, TV show, or book that made you cry?
Oh, most commercials make me cry. I can't watch anything with, animals where they're really sad. I think I cried. I went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I cried in that movie.
Really?
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the last experience that made you a stronger person?
Oh, me. I think, relationships that have failed with friends. I think going through a sad experience of losing someone has shaped me. I lost a dear friend recently, and
Sorry.
that has been, kind of put you in this reflective mode of you don't want to regret not having done things, but it does, make you wish that you had been a better friend, or, hopefully it inspires you to be a better friend in the future. And I think that's kind of where I am now, and hoping that, the friend that I am to my family and friends is one that it provides, inspires and helps them as they help me. So you kind of learning that and growing through that loss has definitely influenced me.
What story does your family always tell about you?
My dad likes to talk about soccer when I was in high school, and how I'm only 5'1", so, and typically soccer players are probably average heights 5'7", maybe taller too. Yeah. So, I was really fast, and my dad always he was the announcer for some odd reason at our soccer games, and to embarrass me, he would always call me a kamikaze or call me the Gnat. So yeah, he likes to talk about how well I would, run around the bigger girls on the soccer field and stand on my feet and, not back down.
Yeah.
He always enjoyed watching me play soccer.
That's awesome. Okay, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll try to be an announcer for my kids.
Yeah.
For my kids' games. That sounds like
you
fun.
You really get to embarrass them.
Okay. So I say this every time, but there's a concept called the Pareto's principle, the 80-20 principle. 20% of your actions equal 80% of the results you're going to get. So in business, in life, what are the 20% of your actions?
The 20% of my actions have been, I think, that's a difficult question.
I'll rephrase it. So what's the 20% you guys do at Phoenix Management that gets you 80% of the results?
Oh, well, that's easier than in my personal life, but social media.
Okay.
Strategy, sitting down with a strategy, being prepared in any of our, services we offer, but definitely I would say social media is 20% provides 80% of our success in getting us out there.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll dive deep into that real quick. How are you doing social media? Is it the fact that you're posting every day, or is it the fact that you're communicating with people, or what is it about social media?
So I think it is, yes, posting every day, understanding, how it's utilized, whatever platform. So the education behind it, constantly staying on top of what is out there and what the trends are. Understanding what target markets are using the different platforms. But I think also, being search engine optimized, our website, staying on top of the things that we are telling our clients that they need to do, which is difficult as a business owner because you're, you need to get business and you need to work for your clients, but then you also have to work on your own business. So it's, kind of keeping that balance, because if you don't focus on your own, then who is going to believe that you're any good at what you do?
That's right, yeah. Okay. Do you feel that your business is your life's calling?
Absolutely. I didn't know it until, this year, but yes, I'm absolutely in the place that I feel I'm supposed to be. And I think that I was born to be a, social media ninja. And, I like to do research. I'm a research, I learned early that while I'm not, I wouldn't say that I'm like, a genius at all by any means, but if I don't know something, typically I look it up, or I research it, or I find someone who knows. So I've always had that, that need to understand the bigger picture, and honing your research skills. I think that's another piece of advice I would have to anyone, not even just entrepreneurs, but understanding that you can Google it, you can look it up.
That's true. Yeah.
There's YouTube videos. I fixed my own garbage disposal by watching a YouTube video. So you can do anything.
Yeah. You're preaching to the choir. I try to tell my sister that all the time. Is there a quote that has always been a mantra that you live life by?
Yes, there is, actually. And I will read it. It's a little bit long, but it is from Mr. Charles R. Swindle. And the quote is, "The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, money, than circumstances, than failure and successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, or a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding our attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it."
Beautiful. Beautiful. Couple more questions and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
What did you want to be as a kid?
Oh, what year? Everything. I was like I said, I have been interested in everything. A teacher. I wanted to be, at one point, I think I just wanted to be a secretary or an office girl. I made my dad give me all of his old checks so that I would, for some weird reason, I thought that was what people at a desk did, was stamp checks. I wanted to work with animals. I wanted to work, with children. I think for a period of time, I really thought I would go into education, which is, in business and consulting, I think that has always been something that I've enjoyed, has been leadership and helping other people understand things or get through things, or so working with kids. I worked at Girl Scout camp, and I did but then I worked in property management and healthcare and now marketing. So it's been in plant genetics too, so I have a lot of interests. Typically that central theme has always been helping people. Yeah.
Okay, two more. If you had a superpower or ability, what would you choose and why?
Oh, my superpower would be I hate driving, so teleportation would be great. But I don't know if that's a superpower.
It is, yeah.
I'd also like to read people's minds. I think that, that could probably be bad and good, but I enjoy, human behavior, and I enjoy watching people and understanding, why they make the decisions they do. Or so I think that would be interesting until it got a little too crazy.
Okay. And last one, advice for entrepreneurial kids and their parents.
Oh, wow. I think getting them involved with local groups, especially, they've got there's the JCs for people who are, coming out of college that will really give you life experience. I think letting kids experience things through real life working experiences, camps that are maybe devoted to, bringing in business owners and that sort of thing instead of the classroom. because I felt, and I went to school, I didn't get what I got out of real life, really working with business owners or really working in the situation as opposed to just learning about it. When I was in high school, I was in a business. We took a business class that we raised money, and we worked with a school in Scotland and sold their jewelry for them, and they sold something for us there at their school, kind of a like a pen pal relationship type deal. But that allowed us to kind of see how business operated in the world, and gave us a unique experience. So getting your kids involved in things like that, like if you know that the school offers specific programs, letting them be a part of that.
Really, really great advice. Honestly, it's the most practical advice that I've gotten so far, asking that question, and I appreciate that, because there are so many groups out here, and you just don't think about getting your kids into those groups.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And letting them, like there's a lot that just business owners don't know about as far as groups, there are so many. There's the Toastmasters where you can learn speaking skills. There's Score Savannah and the small business that, all of the small business organizations that are, free to help businesses get up and going, and utilizing their resources, knowing what's out there, and knowing, I guess, it always goes back to research, like knowing how to research, knowing what question to pose to Google to get back the results that you need in order to get the information you need.
True. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Erica, for being on the show. I really appreciate your advice and inspiration and all that good stuff. So how can people find you and learn more about your company?
Okay. So our website is phoenixmgnt.com. So you can check us out there. We actually have a free tool on our website where you can go and type your website into it, and it will let you know what your SEO or your search engine optimization grade is, and it will actually give you advice on how to correct it and fix it. So you'll know after you run that test what to do. You won't even need to contact us. But if you would like to contact us, go ahead. Our phone number is on our website. Okay. But typically people have, they're less about calling nowadays, but you can contact us through social media, through our website as well. You can email us.
How can they find you on, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Facebook, we are Phoenix Consulting and Management. And on Instagram, we are Phoenix Creative SAV. We're also on Twitter as Phoenix Creative SAV.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Erica, for being on the show. I appreciate everything. To everybody out there listening, thank you guys for tuning in again this Wednesday morning. Hope you have a great day. Hope you go out there and make some kind of impact in the world. I hope that you guys improve yourselves, improve your family, improve the world somehow. All right. Talk to you guys next week. Peace.